So, I was welcomed back to the office today by a less than inspiring project workload and the sad pusses of a beleaguered and somewhat hungover staff, each a millennial capable of a degree of whining that, I swear, only dogs can hear. Normally, I would plow right through their problems and feelings of being overwhelmed, whatever that means, deal with them and move on. But today was different. I took a deep sigh, closed my office door, tuned out and logged on. Foregoing email and the obligatory fantasy football sites, I headed straight to the left. Typically, if I need a liberal counterpoint, all I have to do is poke my head out of my office and quote Ronald Reagan out loud. Not that these punks would know who Ronald Reagan is. This time, however, I just didn't want to deal with the veal calves. Some would say my apathy had reached levels not seen since Seattle 1992, which, oddly, is why I appreciate journalists and bloggers on the left. Often, when I think I just simply don't care anymore, and start eyeballing that half-empty bottle of rubbing alcohol, I take a quick lap around the liberal track and find at least one thing that raises my blood pressure to a point that most people get the bends. And I realize that just like the emo cutter, the pain makes me feel alive. Today's razor blade, the New York Times. In his column, That 1937 Feeling, Paul Krugman makes his liberal case for more, gimme, 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 by doing what else, citing the Great Depression.
The great mistake of 1937, when the Fed in the Roosevelt administration decided that the Great Depression was over, that it was time for the economy to throw away its crutches. Spending was cut back, monetary policy was tightened, and the economy promptly plunged back into the depths.
Side note, I always thought the term Great Depression is a fitting name for a decade marked by bigger government and advancing socialism. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, Paul Krugman's column.
The Obama fiscal stimulus plan is expected to have its peak effect on GDP and jobs around the middle of this year, then start fading out. That's far too early. Why withdraw support in the face of continuing mass unemployment? Congress should have enacted a second round of stimulus months ago, when it became clear that the slump was going to be deeper and longer than originally expected. Blah, blah, blah. Will the Fed realize, before it's too late, that the job of fighting the slump isn't finished? Will Congress do the same? If they don't, 2010 will be a year that began in false economic hope and ended in grief.
And herein lies the reason I really should get a Med Alert bracelet. It is fallacy to believe that the stimulus bill of '09 did anything but further retard and even work against any efforts at recovery. The root of economic growth and prosperity comes not at the end of the bureaucrat's pen, or from the pontification the politician's teleprompter. The government is not the beginning of wealth and innovation, it is the end. The role of government in its current vulture-like form is to scavenge, digest, and finally regurgitate into the waiting open mouths of the baby birds. The real savior of our economy is me. Yes, me, the small business owner. The guy who struggles to make payroll each and every month. The one who made tough, disciplined decisions early in the downturn, and has to look into the eyes of each person he lays off so two others can keep their job. I can tell you from personal experience, which I seriously doubt Mr. Krugman can identify with, that the stimulus bill of '09 is a complete and total joke. As someone whose clientele is 90% public works, I should have, by all accounts, been the first to feel any benefit. But instead, I had a front row seat to witness my public clients consume every dollar in a feeding frenzy of greed and self-preservation. Instead of Steve the civil engineer getting a new road realignment project, the unions put pressure on city councils to direct department heads to internalize the work using city staff. Instead of John the architect getting a shot at the interchange design, county employees exclude the trade in order to fill in empty county employee work schedules. Instead of Rachel the electrical engineer getting the street lighting design project, it is put on hold for a quicker, simpler paving project that guarantees labor workers only 30 days of temporary employment, but looks good in the newspapers. My point is that in spite of all the rhetoric, promises and yes, just words, the only change that I have seen is the retreat of private business. The economic stimulation we were supposed to see only came in the form of expanding government. And instead of an adrenaline shot to the heart, to restart our overdosing economy, we get choked by the bottleneck of bureaucracy. The monies set aside in the omnibus bill have been thrown into a furnace that grows hotter while the metal that holds it together weakens. I'm not the savior. I'm the canary in the coal mine.